12 long years the Springboks have waited to get a chance to avenge the series defeat of 1997. For a proud sporting nation, that is a long time and something they're desperate to put right. But those wearing the famous red shirts know they have a chance to etch their names in rugby's history books. Come on, here we go then. We're in high definition. Sky Sports HD1, channel 408 this afternoon. South Africa against the British and Irish Lions. Our match commentary comes from Stuart Barnes and Miles Harrison.
And now that we have arrived at this point, you can feel every sporting emotion being fired by these scenes all around us. Four nations come together as one team, on and off the field. That is the Lions. But will this be a winning Lions team?
Well, if they hold their own at the breakdown, they have a chance. If the training ground plot to pincer Furry Dupree worked, they have a good chance. If Ruan Pienaar is rusty, the Lions win. That is not too many ifs from a Lions fan's perspective.
Well, let's introduce you to the two sides then. First, the ones with national revenge, not just on their minds, but coursing through every vein of their rugby bodies. South Africa.
Tendam Taru, prop.
John Smith, prop. Bismarck du Plessis, hooker.
Bakkie Botha, second row. Victor Matfield, second row.
Heinrich Broussard, back row. John Smith, back row. Piers Spies, back row.
Rita Priya, scrum off.
Ruan Pienaar, fly off.
John de Villiers, centre.
Adrian Jacobs, centre.
Brian Banner, wing.
JB Peterson, wing. Francois Steyn, fullback.
So 7 Sharks start on their home ground, thus outnumbering the Super 14 champions, the Bulls, who have 5. What about the animal that concerns the whole of Britain and Ireland? The Lions.
Kathleen Jenkins, prop. Phil Vickery, prop.
Lee Mears, hooker.
Alamin Jones, second row.
Paul O'Connell, second row. Tom Croft, back row.
David Wallace, back row.
Jamie Heaslip, back row.
Mike Phillips, scrum half.
Stephen Jones, fly half.
Jamie Roberts, centre.
Ryan O'Driscoll, centre.
Hugo Monnier, wing.
Tommy Bowe, wing.
Lee Byrne, fullback.
And 10 of that team start a Lions test for the first time. On the bench, Donica O'Callaghan started the second and third test in New Zealand 4 years ago. Martin Williams and Ronan O'Gara came on in the third. South Africa, well, they select 2 props in reserve. Captain John Smith covers hooker. Their new test man is the Bulls points machine, Morné Steyn. So what will be going through Lions captain Paul O'Connell's mind here? One of those who was part of the test series on the last tour, but now the leader, following in the footsteps of not just his teammate today and national captain Brian O'Driscoll, but also Martin Johnson and Willie John McBride, the 2 Lions captains who in the last century managed to take their team to a series win on South African soil. and in doing so instantly gained rugby immortality. The Lions of 2009 enter the arena here in Durban, and the enormity of their task starts to hit home more than ever before.
Well, it's not often the big boys, the bruisers in the front row get the headlines, but if the Lions win today, the work at the breakdown of that man, Gethin Jenkins, not just the breakdown, all around the park, and on the other side of the scrum, Phil Vickery, reborn as a prop forward force on this tour. Those two men have so much work to do. It's not just about Wallace, Heapsop and Croft and O'Driscoll at the breakdown. Those props have got to hit ruck after ruck after ruck until they cannot hit another ruck.
Well, South Africa's last full international was in November, but if that seems a long time ago, it pales into insignificance at the side of 12 long years of having to deal with the fallout from a Lions series defeat. And this proud sporting nation has gnashed its teeth, snarled and grumbled, as the Lions are doing now on the sidelines. And whenever the subject of the Lions has come up in the last 12 years, it has hurt so deep, and you can see and hear it now, and it falls to this South African team to put an end to that pain. This is going to be some roar to greet the home side. It takes so much to win a test here, let alone a series. Both sides know 1-0 would, though, be a position of considerable power. John Smith turned to his men after the World Cup and said, "We stay together to finish the job." The Lions are that finish. The job begins now. Here they come.
Wonderful side, isn't it? These South African flags. The Lions' job is to lower them, to make Durban a South African flag-free zone. Adam Jones looks on. Will the Lions be looking out for one man, Ruan Pienaar? John Smith, the captain, but there is the catalyst. Great faith invested in him by coach Peter de Villiers. He's only kicked 9 times at goals in Super 14. He's only succeeded 5 times, and he is at the fulcrum of this battle. Ruan Pienaar, he is the man invested with the future of South African rugby.
We have 2 anthems today, and they both belong to South Africa. The highest honour in British and Irish rugby has now been bestowed on these men. They are in a Lions test. Two mates together, they're all mates. They need to be. The conditions sultry and warm. Durban offers winter days that feel like cup final days back home. And this feels like the ultimate cup final. Bryce Lawrence of New Zealand will be our referee. And what a day for him as he finds himself in a battle between the hemispheres. And if you're a sports fan, rugby fan, you have to be moved by this. And in rugby and sport, the Lions are genuinely unique. How genuine, though, is their challenge? The series that South Africa has waited 12 years for and built towards for the last 2 years since the World Cup final has finally arrived.
Dicko, we're right. Okay, great captain. Thank you. You serious? Okay.
The home side will kick off. Pienaar switches. And filtered by O'Driscoll, who finds himself on the floor in the first few seconds, like he did 4 years ago, but this time, no need to worry. And what a good reply.
Yeah, just a late shoulder there, nothing too much from John de Villiers. It's almost as if they targeted O'Driscoll, nothing too sinister, but just saying, he's a Lions key man, let's put him on his backside. That's a brilliant kick from the man who has had an amazing year. Brian O'Driscoll has not lost since the middle of January. Can he keep this run going?
Bismarck du Plessis will throw in, the man who was replacement to Smith in the World Cup final when his captain was Hooker. And there's no better line out in World Rugby than this one. Botha and Matfield in the middle. And options are plenty at the base. Up from Fleury de Pria. And referee Lawrence is going to give a penalty here.
Peterson offside. Great news for the line. I mean, that's the South African game plan in a nutshell. You win your line out of Victor Matfield. Fleury de Pria puts the box kick up under pressure, but normally the Boks are very good at keeping their discipline. The wings chase, but that is a clear sign of rustiness. It's the word that South Africa fears, and that's a real mistake there.
And what were we saying this morning? How many of those are missed in World Rugby these days? Not today.
We'll just see now. Fleury de Pria takes his time. He's just about going. The timing is so tight. It's almost like a sprinter coming out of the track there. Peterson starts very deep, but there's just a momentary delay. He's offside. It's tight. But this is a very, very big kick for Jones. It must have been a tight call between him and Ronan O'Gara, because O'Gara's goal kicking has been well nigh impeccable. Jones has kicked well, but he is not a particularly long-range kicker, and this is close to the limit of his range. We are not at altitude here. It's a big kick.
Under pressure, the technique needs to stay strong here from Jones. The nerves have to be put into a compartment. Can he do it? No, he can't. Not the first time anyway. Francois Steyn goes.
Oh, great kick by Steyn. This is the problem for the Lions. Steyn could be exposed positionally at fullback, but if he gets time and ball, he kicks it so far. He's got a colossal boot, and he has, from 5 metres behind his own post, made 65 metres with that kick. I think Ugo Monye, Tommy Bowe must think about keeping this ball alive, because they don't want to play line-outs against this Springbok machine.
Mears throws. It could have been 3-0 now. South Africa have the attacking advantage. John de Villiers pulls it back to A.D. Jacobs. There's Habana, but that's good hands under pressure there. And Steyn involved again with the carry at the end. Fleury de Pria. Ruan Pienaar. There's some space there. Monye needs to get back, and Peterson's going, and Lee Byrne has seen that, and there's a clash of bodies. Jacobs is across. It'll be a scrum, but it was desperate defence from the Lions. Well spotted space from Pienaar.
It all comes from the Lions getting turned over at the very first line out on their ball. It's good play from Pienaar. I just think Monye got a little bit tight there. Lee Byrne has to come and make the check. That ball could have gone anywhere there. But the Lions line out exposed for the very first throw on their ball, and Pienaar spots space superbly.
It's a good start this from South Africa. Dupree again, Pienaar now. Dupree up, Smith. Back with a scrum half so quickly. Here comes the captain! What a start for the whole of South Africa. John Smith powers over as if to set the standard. And if there were any pre-series jitters, they've not been showing, and they've surely gone for good now.
Smith comes from so deep. Look at the captain there. He's just waited his time and he's come hard. There's nothing the Lions can do. Springbok play wave after wave. He finds the weak shoulder of Jamie Roberts, and Tom Croft has no chance there. The depth was excellent, the recycling was very good, the tackling wasn't bad initially, but Smith, it was just wave after wave, breaking like the Indian Ocean here at Durban. What a start for the world champions.
Pienaar, and for him, there may well have been some nerves on the goal kicking. You talked about his record in the Super 14 and injuries in that competition too. But he gets the perfect kick to start, close to the post, and South Africa have the perfect start in general. They lead by 7 points to 0. Stephen Jones restarts.
And it all comes from a line-out that the Lions lost.
Croft chasing, and that is lost by Francois Steyn, and a knock-on, and that's just what the Lions needed.
The last time Steyn got the ball, he booted the 60. This time, it's a chance for the Lions. John Smith, just look at the line and the patience of his run. That's the key. The Lions don't pick it up. It's really good ball. Here he comes. Wait, bang into the hole. He's deep enough to see where the exposed shoulder is. It's brilliant play from the captain. Now, South Africa, one attack in position, one score. Lions need a quick riposte.
Lions need to show that clinical nature that was in evidence against the Golden Lions, but what a contrast, the environment that night at Ellis Park to what we find here, and also the space that was available then. It's important if they can get the nudge here at the scrum. Vickery, Mears and Jenkins, well, they can't even get down into it.
Very interesting couple of points on the scrum. Gary Gold, the forwards coach, was saying as Sean Edwards looks on, if the Lions aren't happy with the hit, they always back away and they reset. The other thing that we're all aware, the referee Bryce Lawrence, he believes that most scrum problems come from the loose set, so he'll be looking at the Beast and he'll be looking at Jenkins.
Phillips is coming away, but he was the decoy. It's gone the other side to Jones and O'Driscoll, and here's Monye! Monye! Did he get in? He thinks he did! So that's what they've been holding back. It was promised, but it also has to be checked. Surely it will be.
Lovely decoy work there now. If Monye's got this down, this is one hell of a finish. He's given plenty to do. The ball from O'Driscoll is a beauty. The pressure comes in. Just watch out for the left foot. He's not there yet. I think he gets it down, but I think we need to see another angle. I think John de Villiers then throws it away in despair afterwards. This is the one that tells us.
The arm of de Villiers. The ball is not down there.
You would not look at that and say that is definitely a try. That's a tight call. John de Villiers may have worked a miracle if he stops Monye here.
Well, on that evidence, it's advantage South Africa here.
Great rugby brain from the inside centre. Monye is trying to get it now. I don't think Monye's in touch. It's just clearly a question of the ball. From that angle, you can't see it. It's certainly not down there. Has he got it down at that moment? It's a very big call giving a try when there's so much debate. If that's not a try, that is a wonderful piece of defensive play.
Nice.
Yep.
I have a decision.
Thank you.
The ball was not touching goal. The ball was not touching goal.
It's a fair call from Christophe Berdos.
5 red.
Was a touching goal here?
Doesn't touch in goal.
Sorry?
The ball doesn't touch in goal.
Okay, but it's carried in by red.
Yeah, scrum 5 red.
Why scrum 5 red though?
Because the green player played the ball after and go in that deadline.
The green player played the ball here or in goal?
Yeah, it's a scrum 5 red.
Why though?
Attacking scrum.
What? You need
attacking.
Yeah, you need to tell me why it's a scrum 5.
Because the green player on the floor played the ball and
in the field of play or in goal?
No, it was in goal.
Okay, it's a 22 then.
Bryce Lawrence knows his laws.
Overrules Christophe Berdos there. Brilliant play from John de Villiers. We've seen the captain with the try, but that is a 5 to 7 point save from the inside centre. Hasn't played since April the 18th, but has proved his worth to everyone in this rugby-mad country.
So the worst possible end result when the Lions thought they'd scored. Monye genuinely believed he got that ball down, but of course what he was probably feeling was putting the ball onto de Villiers' arm, and it was one of the great pieces of defensive play that you're going to see. Here's Francois Steyn. And that could bounce anywhere, but it must be a knock-on. It was.
Pierre Spies just tried to say, actually, it was off my head. But I think there's no doubt that came off the shot. A very good high kick from Steyn early on. The South African is off the head, you know.
Stay here, Vinny, in the middle.
And technically, that is not a knock-on. And
middle.
Pierre Spies immediately said, no, no, no. Lions get a little bit lucky there.
Well, it's not a knock-on. It's again back to the law book. Plain and simple. Came off the head. And the Lions totally driven off that. Underdone. Not this Springbok pack.
Raw maybe, but certainly not undercooked. The local crowd, of course, love this front row. It's the Sharks' front row, and the Lions, they're not set and they're driven backwards. Atomised there by the Springboks. A bad start suddenly looks even worse, and that has inspired the South African crowd, let alone the pack.
And that scrum was 12 years of pain. Inflicting pain on the Lions 8. And now Pienaar to increase the lead to 10 after 10.
Well, the way this game has gone in the first 10 minutes, the Lions desperately need Ruan Pienaar to play up to the hoped British and Irish script, which was that he was rusty and he would not kick that well.
Well, the kicking ghosts of '97 have been haunting South Africa rugby ever since. First in Cape Town and then especially here. All those missed kicks. Pienaar. Well, no ghost there.
That's a brutal start from South Africa. They've had 2 visits into the Lions territory and they've come away with 10 points. Vickery gets a bad position and the beast piles into him there, and that really did lift this ground. It was an explosive roar all around us.
The ground lifted, the Lions front row lifted. Mustaine winning the put-in for his side here. It was taken straight away. No mistake that time on the high ball from a man who's just 22. He did become the youngest to win a World Cup in 2007.
Give him your shoulder, head straight.
The injuries have just checked his advance. We still await greatness, and an awful lot of people in World Rugby think the young Stein is capable of it.
Go behind.
Vickery's come up again there. Pienaar.
A lot of time. He's got a lot of time, hasn't he, Ruan Pienaar? Under pressure from Heaslip. That's a lovely strike again. Another of the local men knows this ground inside out. It's their week in, week out home ground. Here's the scrum again, and there is the pressure, and Phil Vickery is up, and so are the South African fans.
Get him on the mark,
And the beast living up to his name there. Tendai Umtawarira. That was won by Croft. Mears.
No. Fine.
Phillips gets back on his feet.
Scrum.
And we'll be relieved to see the referee hold out the arm towards the Lions. He wasn't coming back from there.
Sound technique.
That's not what Lee Mears needs to be doing, darting off the right foot and stepping back into the likes of Bakkies, Borter and company. Lions really do need to keep this ball alive at the moment. You don't feel they're winning the physical battle. They're getting the Lions' share of possession, but it's the 45% the Boks have got they've used so well. Very important scrum, isn't it, now, for the Lions front row, having been humiliated in the last one. They need to just put their own marker down now and stabilise this scrummaging area.
Patience, eh?
Lions all pumped up,
Get up.
trying to hit that scrum as hard as they could. They have to be wary of going in too soon. That will be penalised for the early engage.
Come forward. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
It's better. Phillips to Byrne. Good step from Byrne. Phillips again. Mears, a target there, wasn't he? Did well to just rumble across the gain line somehow. That was David Wallace taking it in. This is Stephen Jones on to Lee Byrne. Out to Tommy Bowe, one of the stars of the tour. Monya too has been scoring tries non-stop, it seems, since we arrived in South Africa. 4 apiece for the wingers. Didn't quite get one at the start of this game, but this is good attacking rugby. And David Wallace is going through here. Phillips. The Lions showing what they can do. Play on, says the referee. Lions thought a penalty was coming. Here's Habana. And now the penalty is given against South Africa at the breakdown.
Well, Gethin Jenkins has just pulled off a spectacular tackle. Ugo Monya was able to stay wide and ignore the threat of that man, Brian Habana, because Gethin Jenkins, look at that from the loose head. It allowed Monya to stay wide, brilliant play, and then the Lions are in over the ball very quickly, and they get an opportunity. And it's an opportunity that has to be taken.
Guys, don't abuse it. Go to the side.
Here's Jones. It's going to be tight again. You can't really say at this stage of the game it was a must-get kick, but it would have made the Lions feel so much better.
I don't know. Against the world champions on their home patch, that's a kick that has to go over. I think Sean Edwards knows that. And Stephen Jones, he cannot afford to miss many more. The Lions will not score that many tries to run away with this game. They've got to chip their way back into this. Every point has to be taken, especially when you're 10 down.
Space in there. Pienaar and Peterson making sure that he stayed onside there. And it's another good kick from Pienaar.
It couldn't have gone worse for the Lions. Another line out lost and another hammer blow from Ruan Pienaar. He's justifying his coach's faith in him. He's playing beautifully. Again, though, Lee Mears goes to the back. Spieth comes in. Gethin Jenkins is waiting there. He picks it up. And look at this from Pienaar. A beautiful kick.
Mears to Captain O'Connell. After 12 minutes in New Zealand of the first test, he was in the sin bin, wasn't he, Paul O'Connell? Another giant kick from Steyn to his opposite number, Lee Byrne. Of course, can kick big himself, but there he's just thinking about getting away from the green line. Here's Bowe. The ferocity of the challengers coming in from the Springboks. Something to behold here. Stephen Jones clears again. He was under pressure.
Out.
Steyn to Byrne.
Outside.
This could be Byrne to Steyn.
No.
Mind games, boot games. Good chase by Joanne Smith.
Lions have a penalty here. Joanne Smith is offside.
Never put onside, straight into the ball. Never onside.
So that's how he got there. Says referee Bryce Lawrence illegally.
Penalty or a scrum where it was kicked.
He's quick, but he's not that quick, is he, Smith?
Penalty or a scrum where it was kicked. Can I have the mark for the kick?
It was very interesting, wasn't it? Lee Byrne is not afraid to counter-attack, and there's been a sense throughout this build-up to the test that the Lions wouldn't play that much rugby in the series from first phase, but in counter-attack they will do it. And it's a dangerous game because, as you were saying, the Boks at the moment are tackling with great ferocity, and from any turnover, the likes of Habana and Peterson and Jacobs, 30 metres out against disorganised defence, it's over. But they've got to be brave, haven't they, to get back into this one.
Crouch.
When Habana tried to engineer that breakout, there was a sense that the Lions stopped, feeling a penalty was coming. They can't afford to do that, and they must get this scrum sorted out. Heinrich Brousseau was a real thorn in the side of the Lions when he played for the Cheetahs earlier on tour. Foy Dupree might be just that here. And he comes clattering to the ground onto his shoulder, and here's a player that the Springboks will not want to lose. Many believe he's currently the best player in world rugby.
Well, even Gethin Jenkins can't get to him, but this is a full-scale sporting disaster zone at the moment. What is happening to the scrum? So much pressure coming through in the South African 8. Jenkins can't get anywhere near Foy Dupree. He gets an ankle tap, but Dupree, he smells an opportunity, and Croft goes in there with the shoulder, and technically that is undoubtedly a penalty. That's a hit, that is not a tackle.
Did not make any genuine attempt there to use the arms in the tackle.
I just don't think it could have been a worse start for the Lions, you know. The line-out's in trouble, the scrum's in trouble, and the Boks look anything but rusty.
And their potential to get back into the game when they thought they had it with the Monya try after the well-worked move, that disappeared into thin air as well.
6.
Well, 6 is Tom Croft.
Well, the crowd booed immediately when they saw the replay, they knew.
It's close to the touchline, but there's no arms for the tackle made by 6, okay? It's going to be a penalty. Thank you. Just here.
And Vinnie Munro is the assistant on that far side, and you have to presume that is where the call came from.
Shot, please.
It certainly wasn't given initially by referee Bryce Lawrence.
Now we're in the giant boot range. We watched Franz Steyn, didn't we, about 45 minutes ago, warming up from his own 10-metre line. He wasn't getting them, but they were going over the top of the post. He doesn't have a problem with distance, direction. It's the key. He's hit and he can miss, but boy, can he hit a rugby ball.
Percy Montgomery, the kicking coach now with South Africa, made it clear the other day that the long ones would fall to this man. Pienaar from closer range. Well, it was the right decision in the end from the officials, and it was certainly the right kick from Francois Steyn halfway through the first half. And look at that for a lead.
Just about every time South Africa get in Lions territory, they are coming away with point. That is the brutal reality of test match rugby, and at the moment this is a brutal lesson being taught. Matfield and company in the line out, and at restart Schmidt and the beast at the scrums. It's a horrible start for the Lions.
South Africa playing like the world champions that they are.
It's taken back. It's taken back.
They use Steyn every time to take those restarts.
Stay green! No! Yep.
And then use Pienaar.
10 metres red!
Monnier after Burns. Up and under. This is going to bounce. And it's Alan Wynne-Jones. Mike Phillips. David Wallace. And they're all up against a class brigade today, a world-class brigade.
All tour the Lions have loved to go short side after a contact, but this is another level of opponents, and it was an initial good drive from Wallace, but then the speed and reaction of the Springboks. Bismarck du Plessis so strong, Bakkies Botha, who will tackle all afternoon, they're there, and the Lions have to be careful going the same way within 5 metres of the touchline, because the Boks will drive them out and they will take control of the ball.
South Africa cut the line out, and it doesn't work. Paul O'Connell for the Lions. Phillips, call from Tommy Bow on this side for the crossfield kick. Stephen Jones had no time to get that in. Here's Jamie Roberts, and he's through again. Brian O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll cutting back inside. He's got Tom Croft there. It's going to be this time. That ball is down, and it's a try to lift 4 nations and 1 team.
They couldn't wait any longer, the Lions. Tom Croft, he uses his speed in support, but it's the Roberts-O'Driscoll axis. It's been the Lions' most potent attacking weapon, and once again, the Welshman drives into the heart. It's a lovely offload. O'Driscoll reads it well. He backs himself. It's a superb offload as the tackle comes in from Peterson. Roberts and O'Driscoll, the Lions' ace, the Lions' trump, combined brilliantly. O'Driscoll knows Habana's got the pace and the marking. Croft saunters up there, and nothing Franz Steyn can do there. The Lions back in the game.
Jones converts, and as soon as you saw it in the hands of Brian O'Driscoll, you sort of knew that it would not be wasted, that the chance would be taken. Roberts busting through like he's done so well on this tour, and then O'Driscoll so aware of what is on around him always, and this is a strong finish from Tom Croft.
Well, the first game of tour, Roberts was making those breaks and no one was on his shoulder, and that's the difference. O'Driscoll read it, Croft finishes, and the Lions, having been hammered in many ways, are back in the game. But what they have done in the first 25, they've made 3 clear line breaks. They're getting behind the box.
Yeah, got it, got it.
Byrne and Steyn are at it again, and Franz Steyn is at it again. He cannot resist a drop goal. It seems wherever the ball is on the field.
12! Stay here. Yep.
Burns trying to get it long again. Here's JP Peterson. Hugo Monnier calls for the mark. Pienaar's dropped that.
That's a wonderful 2 minutes for Lions fans, because Pienaar's done nothing wrong and he's just made a little error, and the Lions, more importantly, have scored. Now, Robert, he's the man attached to the red area. He attacks his own, but what O'Driscoll's done throughout his career, he loves to wait and then come late, and he finds that hole, and defenders can't pick it up. There he comes. His man that's meant to be marking him is just watching space. O'Driscoll picks in. He has an awareness of where support is, and Tom Croft, he knows, like a good flanker, exactly where to be. Croft's pace, a real virtue there.
Indeed it was. He had to bust a gut to get there, but he did. And so he should. He's in that Lions jersey, and the Lions simply had to score that time. They knew it, and now we have a test match.
I must say, I mean, if you're French or a New Zealander...
Okay, you get it right, please. Hit straight.
Or an Australian watching this, you'll be loving it. I mean, there's some great play from South Africa, but the Lions' attacking capacity, as I said, it's finding holes in the Springboks, and that is the great news for them. Good attacking position again.
Heaslip, Phillips, Roberts, and then O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll's gone on the outside! Bow's outside, but the whistle has gone.
Lee Byrne.
Crossing, says the referee, Bryce Lawrence. Oh, some moves coming out the draw here.
Yeah, they are. Lee Byrne's timing not quite right, though, and Bryce Lawrence absolutely right there. But the Lions, they're trying to use the decoys, and they're trying to release the great man, O'Driscoll. And oh, there's an awful lot of fans in red. Thought for just a second the Lions had a second try. I'm sure we'll see it now.
The South African defence was drawn to Roberts, and understandably. Come back to the reason why the try was disallowed, but the action keeps on coming. Who's going to claim this one? Nobody. Steyn was uninterrupted in his climb for the ball. Dupree, Jacobs. Penalty.
Never release the ball. All over him. Stand up first, then pick it up. Straight off your feet.
Neither the tackler nor the first man in there, Paul O'Connell. He's the one penalised.
Well, the ruck was formed, wasn't it? I mean, the new instruction from the IRB to the referees is to allow the man that arrives, having made the tackle, if he's on his feet, he can play it, and the next man in as well, as long as he's on his feet. It was always thus in the law book, but they just want to see that carried through. But as soon as that ruck is formed, if the player is then off his feet and preventing release back on the attacking side, then it will be penalised, and it has been here.
It's been a persistent problem with the Lions, hasn't it? Even in the warm-up games. Let's face it, after this first 25 minutes, we now know that's exactly what they are. This is the real thing.
This is Steyn again. Trying to live up to the expectation of every generation in the South African nation. But not that time. He does sacrifice accuracy for that length.
Oh, he just blasts it, doesn't he? I mean, he's like John Daly. On a good day, he's going 400 metres, but on a bad day, he's in the woods, he's all over the place. Unfortunately for the Lions, he's 50-50 at the moment, which from that range isn't a bad return.
Here's this bundle of muscle, really packs a punch, Eddie Jacobs. Pienaar to Jean de Villiers, and de Villiers nearly hauled that one in. It would have been an excellent piece of skill, but nearly is not good enough. Knock on.
Let's go back to the O'Driscoll break when the crowd were going mad. How does O'Driscoll get on the wide outside? The man circled is Lee Byrne, and watch the line he takes there and see the impact on it. Byrne goes in front, so it's an obstruction. He takes two men out. He does it brilliantly. It's a running try for the Lions. I mean, technically, it is superb, but it's just a little bit too unsubtle there. But threats, ideas and dangers all over in attack. It's just this scrum and line out, and South Africa's ability to just create these power waves of attack.
And also South Africa's ruthless ability to take the points every time that they're inside the opposition 22. Okay, you get the long range kicks from Steyn. To say they're 50-50, they're worth a go, especially given the nature of Test match rugby and how close this promised to be, and it's starting to be again after that 13-0 start for South Africa. Mike Phillips didn't really put enough into that to get it downfield. Now it's Bakisboda and Steyn to Jacobs. Now de Villiers does take that one in. Lee Byrne, but it will be counter-attack ball for the Springboks. Ruben Pienaar and Tommy Bowe.
Leave it green. 13.
Phillips. Stephen Jones.
That's not a great kick. Straight into Steyn.
Keep saying that, don't we? Steyn. Jean de Villiers loves a gallop, and he's very strong in the challenge. Nat Field was there, Dupree as well. That's good tackling from the Lions. As Dupree was scythed down there.
Well done, Alan Wynne-Jones. He skagged Pienaar about Dupree 5 minutes ago. He's hit him again.
And Croft too. Croft heavily involved in that. In fact, I think it was Croft initially.
And they're the hits that the Lions are going to have to keep making.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Oh, straight to a penalty as the scrum doesn't stay up.
Phil Vickery's the man who's having some problems. He certainly is in the interpretation of Bryce Lawrence. It's a field day for the Beast in the set piece. Vickery, with all that experience, shakes his head. He's got to work his way out of this at the moment.
Shot, please, guys.
Otherwise, Adam Jones, who's had a very good tour and a very fine season, will have to be introduced.
Vickery doesn't agree clearly, but it's a dangerous game, isn't it, when that head goes lower than the hips. But sometimes you see them reset.
There's no precision in the scrum. Esoteric art that it is, and much as we all love it, there's always a degree of give and take when referees call scrums. Always.
And what's happened here is that Pienaar has been given a gilt-edged chance for 3 points. A reasonable distance out, but nothing that should trouble him. And as you can see, nice and central for the kicker. Should be 3, and is. Maybe it's a penalty that reflects South Africa dominance in the scrum pretty well through this first half. Although there have been a couple of occasions when the Lions have held steady.
Yeah, but big scrums from South Africa rewards that, and the line-out that's put the Lions under a lot of pressure. It's the set piece at the moment that's put in the box in a command position.
Dupree's turn this time to take the kick off, and then the home cry from the Sharks fans, from all South African fans in these colours as well, of the Beast. Monia went into a forest of bodies but didn't emerge with the ball. Pienaar pushing Lee Byrne around. JP Peterson. Strong run from the winger, who had a brilliant World Cup. Matfield's in there again. Good hands from him. Bowe will get another go, but not for long because Haban is on him. Another penalty. Holding on, says Bryce Lawrence. Mistake from the initial catch. Cost the Lions dear there.
The squeeze coming from Ruben Pienaar is spectacular. Again, his kicking game is not giving Lee Byrne any room, and it all came. He fired a ball straight down the 5-metre channel.
Struggling to hold it up. There's been 2 penalties.
We'll just come back to that as Paul O'Connell is lectured. Ruben Pienaar is just putting the Lions back 3 in positions they don't want to be. And then it comes the bad kick, and that enables Peterson to put the pace on And from there, the Lions are always going backwards. The squeeze gets better. It becomes a penalty from a Bok perspective. All came from that man kicking now, Ruan Pinar, though, pressing the Lions into areas where they don't want to play and forcing bad kicks back.
So what about Pinar's precision from here? This starts to make it look like a very uncomfortable lead as far as the Lions are concerned. 3 points here as we approach half-time. Could make a big difference in this match. And Pinar does it for South Africa again. His father was a winner in the 1980 series. Casey Pinar, fullback against the Lions. Just in case you want some more, says Bismarck Duplessis to Brian O'Driscoll.
Sort of sign, isn't it? The Boks on top at the moment. Pinar has had a fabulous game, and now de Villiers is off.
Jean de Villiers inside, he was looking for Habana, he would have got the call. Akis Botha was the man to take it on for de Pria. So many up and unders in this first half. Lee Byrne, Stephen Jones to David Wallace, Brian O'Driscoll to Jamie Roberts. The Lions run out of attackers in space, so it's back to Steyn, and that's what he does, and we're seeing it time and time again.
The difference is South Africa's kicking game is putting the Lions exceptional kicking fullback Lee Byrne in areas where he can't dominate. When the Lions are kicking, they're giving that young man a little bit more space, a little bit more time by and large, and with the size of that boot, the one thing you've got to do is squeeze time, because he kicks it so far when he's got all the time he wants, and he's having a fine game.
Phillips, Jones, Roberts again. And Brian O'Driscoll's dropped it now. Totally out of character from O'Driscoll. And it's turnover ball for de Pria, and there will be men out wide here. Jacobs shipping it on, was that a little bit forward? Officials let it go. Here's Peterson. Stephen Jones.
Oh, sorry.
And now the apology from the referee, because Jones was away there after the knock-on from South Africa. No advantage played. He was still in field. I thought the pass out to Peterson might have been a bit forward anyway. That was certainly knocked on by O'Driscoll, and that created the issue.
Well, it's good to hear manners from a referee, but frankly, those are the mistakes that can't be made. And from the Lions' perspective, they need everything going their way. That was clever play from Peterson, though. Rob Carney coming on, and it's Lee Byrne outstanding on this tour, hobbling off. It's one big left foot for another. It shouldn't change the shape of the Lions game, but Lee Byrne does have perhaps a little bit more pace. Here we can see the front row and the heat coming on, and the penalties going against the Lions. One-way traffic.
Straight. Crouch.
And now we're back live with
Touch, pause, engage.
the real-time scrum, and the real lesson is being handed out here by South Africa, and Bryce Lawrence looks like he's going to have no more here.
He's falling into the tunnel. That's 3. You're leaving me very little option soon.
Final warning time.
2 metres. Talk to me if you want to, but make it half-time. Thank you.
This is very frustrating for the Lions, and it's devastating as well. If this kick goes over from Pinar with Byrne off there, 22-7, that is some mountain. Forget Table Mountain, we're in Durban and it's a big old one. Can't hold the binding, that's the call. There is a hint there that the beast, you wouldn't say he's absolutely straight there, would you? And Vickery will probably say that's what's making it so hard for me.
The law says that you have to bind on your opposing prop by gripping the jersey on the back or the side, not the chest, the arm, sleeve or collar. And if you lose that binding totally, then it's going to be a penalty. And the irony here for the Lions is that the scrum has been such a positive in every game on tour in the first 6 matches and beaten all of those games. But this match number 7 was always going to be the defining game of the tour. Pienaar from the other side, and thankfully for the Lions, that one is not successful. We're hearing the injury for Lee Byrne. It's a flare-up of a heel problem. That's why he's gone off, and Rob Kearney has come on. But as you were saying, it's like for like, similar sort of player.
Too easy for Matfield there, too easy.
Dupria. There's the Beast going to have a run or a pass. He's going to leave it for Peterson. And your assessment of that first half?
Well, the Lions have done some good things going forward, but the scrum is a massive concern. The line-out hasn't been great, and South Africa's ability to take everything on offer has been quite spectacular. It is a lesson in how you become world champions. Clinical from South Africa, no sign of rustiness, all to do for the Lions.
Well, we've seen the might of Springbok rugby, certainly at the start of the match when John Smith went over their captain. Monyu was close, there was crossing in midfield on another occasion. That excellent try was scored by Croft, but the Lions are going to need more, much more, in the second half.
Hey lads, we've got a big game tomorrow.
So get your heads down, okay?